I thought I was in control. I couldn't be further away from the truth. My name is John, and for as long as I could remember, I had always been the one making decisions, shaping my destiny, or so I thought. I was a successful lawyer, handling high-stakes cases that demanded precision and control. But everything changed the day I received a mysterious letter. It arrived at my office, tucked beneath a pile of legal documents. The envelope was plain, unremarkable, but its contents were anything but ordinary. Inside, I found a single sheet of paper, its message succinct yet chilling: "Your fate is no longer yours to command." I dismissed it as a prank, the work of a disgruntled colleague or a bored intern. But as the days passed, strange things began to happen. Cases I had meticulously prepared unraveled without explanation. Witnesses I had counted on disappeared or suddenly changed their testimonies. It was as if the very fabric of my professional life was unraveling, slipping through my fingers like sand. I tried to regain control, working late into the night, obsessively reviewing case files, and seeking answers from anyone who might have a grudge against me. But the more I struggled, the deeper I fell into a web of chaos. The letter's ominous words haunted my every thought. The chaos didn't stop at my professional life. It seeped into every corner of my existence, like an insidious fog that refused to dissipate. At home, my once loving relationship with my wife, Sarah, grew strained. Arguments erupted over trivial matters, and a pervasive sense of unease settled between us. One evening, as I tried to make sense of the mounting chaos, Sarah approached me with a mixture of concern and frustration in her eyes. "John," she said, her voice trembling, "something's not right. It's like we're living in a nightmare, and I don't know how to wake up from it." Her words struck a chord deep within me. I wasn't alone in this ordeal. My pursuit of answers took on a new urgency. I delved into the origins of the mysterious letter, tracing it back to a postmark that led to an abandoned warehouse on the outskirts of town. With a sense of trepidation, I ventured to the decrepit building one moonless night. Its crumbling walls and shattered windows seemed to whisper ancient secrets, and an unsettling chill pervaded the air. As I explored the dimly lit interior, I stumbled upon a hidden chamber. Within the chamber, I found an old tome, its pages filled with arcane symbols and cryptic incantations. It was a grimoire, a book of forbidden knowledge, and it held the key to understanding the forces that had disrupted my life. The pages revealed a ritual, one that could transfer control over a person's fate to another, but at a great and terrible cost. The ritual required the participation of both parties, the one relinquishing control and the one accepting it. It was a dark exchange, a pact that bound their destinies together, and it came with a warning of dire consequences for those who dared to tamper with the balance of fate. It was clear that someone had orchestrated this sinister plot, someone who sought to seize control over my life and manipulate it to their own ends. But who could harbor such malevolence, and why had I been targeted? Armed with this newfound knowledge, I confronted Sarah. The truth was a bitter pill to swallow, but it was essential to our survival. We had to undertake the ritual ourselves, to reclaim control over our lives and break free from the malevolent forces that bound us. The night of the ritual arrived, and we gathered in the same chamber where I had discovered the grimoire. Candles flickered, casting eerie shadows on the walls, as we recited the incantation together. The air crackled with energy, and for a fleeting moment, it felt like the very fabric of reality hung in the balance. As the ritual reached its climax, I felt an overwhelming surge of power and a profound connection with Sarah. It was as if our fates were intertwined inextricably, and in that moment, I knew we had succeeded. But the victory came at a price. In the days that followed, the malevolent presence that had plagued us began to fade, and a semblance of normalcy returned to our lives. Yet, I couldn't escape the weight of the knowledge that our destinies were forever altered, that we had tampered with forces beyond our comprehension. And as I gazed at Sarah, who had endured this ordeal by my side, I couldn't help but wonder if our attempt to regain control had truly set us free, or if it had merely bound us in a different kind of illusion. So, I embarked on a new journey, one to uncover the identity of the malevolent puppeteer who had set this dark scheme in motion. I was no longer a passive player in the game of fate. I had tasted the consequences of tampering with destiny, and now, I was determined to confront the puppet master and take back full control of my life, no matter the cost. My quest for answers led me down a treacherous path, a dark labyrinth of secrets and deception. The more I delved into the mysteries surrounding the ritual and the malevolent forces at play, the more elusive the truth became. I scoured ancient texts and consulted experts in the occult, seeking any clue that might lead me to the identity of our tormentor. The grimoire, I discovered, had a long and sordid history, passing through the hands of individuals who had sought power at any cost. One name kept resurfacing in my research, a figure shrouded in legend and whispered in hushed tones: the Puppet Master. They were rumored to be a master manipulator, a puppeteer of destinies who reveled in the suffering of those caught in their web. The Puppet Master's motivations remained a mystery. Some believed they sought to accumulate power beyond imagination, while others thought they acted out of sheer sadistic pleasure. Regardless of their intent, one thing was clear: they were a force to be reckoned with, and I was determined to confront them. My investigation led me to a clandestine network of individuals who claimed knowledge of the Puppet Master's whereabouts. They operated in the shadows, trading information for secrets and harboring their own dark ambitions. It was a perilous alliance, but I had no other choice. With their guidance, I followed a trail of breadcrumbs that led me deeper into the heart of darkness. Each step brought me closer to unraveling the enigma of the Puppet Master's identity, but it also exposed me to greater dangers. As I delved deeper, I became increasingly aware of the extent of the Puppet Master's influence. They seemed to have an uncanny ability to manipulate events, to sow chaos and discord wherever they went. It was as if they could pull the strings of fate itself, orchestrating a malevolent symphony of suffering. My obsession with uncovering the Puppet Master's identity began to take a toll on my relationship with Sarah. She pleaded with me to let go, to find solace in the life we had reclaimed. But I couldn't ignore the burning need for closure, for justice. The final piece of the puzzle lay hidden in an abandoned asylum on the outskirts of town, an ominous place that had once housed the criminally insane. It was rumored to be the Puppet Master's lair, a nexus of their power. With a heavy heart, I ventured into the decaying depths of the asylum. The asylum's corridors were a nightmarish maze, a testament to the suffering that had occurred within its walls. As I navigated the labyrinthine passages, I could feel the Puppet Master's presence growing stronger, like a shadow closing in. Finally, in the heart of the asylum, I confronted the Puppet Master, a figure shrouded in darkness, their face obscured by a mask of porcelain. Their laughter echoed through the chamber, a chilling symphony of malevolence. "You've come far, John," they said, their voice dripping with venom. "But did you truly think you could unravel the strings of fate? You were but a pawn in my grand design." With a wave of their hand, they unleashed a torrent of spectral energy, ensnaring me in a web of ethereal threads. I struggled against the invisible bonds, but it was futile. The Puppet Master held me captive, a helpless marionette in a twisted performance. As they reveled in their triumph, I couldn't help but wonder if I had played right into their hands, if my relentless pursuit of answers had only served to tighten the strings of my own fate. And so, as I stood there, trapped in the Puppet Master's nightmarish tableau, I knew that the battle was far from over. The strings of destiny were still in motion, and the puppeteer's grip on my life remained unyielding. But I was determined to break free, to defy the puppeteer's cruel design, and to reclaim control over my own destiny, no matter the cost. In the dim, eerie chamber of the abandoned asylum, I struggled against the Puppet Master's ethereal bindings, my every effort met with resistance. Their laughter echoed around me, a maddening cacophony that threatened to drive me to the brink of despair. But deep within me, a flicker of determination burned brighter. I refused to be a mere puppet in the Puppet Master's cruel game. With a surge of willpower, I summoned every ounce of strength I had left. The ethereal threads that bound me began to fray, their grip weakening. The Puppet Master's expression shifted from arrogant amusement to disbelief as they realized their hold over me was slipping. With one final, desperate push, I shattered the spectral bonds that ensnared me. The force of my will tore through the threads, sending an explosion of energy cascading through the chamber. The Puppet Master was thrown back, their mask of porcelain shattering as they let out a wail of anguish. As the dust settled, I stood triumphant, my chest heaving with exertion. The Puppet Master lay defeated, their powers stripped away. Their reign of terror had come to an end. I approached them, their face now revealed, a face that bore the scars of a tormented existence. In that moment, I saw not a malevolent puppeteer, but a broken soul ensnared by their own darkness. "Why?" I asked, my voice filled with a mix of anger and pity. The Puppet Master looked up at me, their eyes filled with remorse. "I sought control in a world that had none," they whispered. "But in the end, I became the puppet, a slave to my own desires." With those words, the Puppet Master's form dissipated into the ether, vanishing like a specter into the night. The asylum, once a place of torment, was now quiet, its malevolent presence extinguished. I emerged from the asylum, battered but free, the weight of my obsession lifted. Sarah was waiting for me, her eyes filled with concern and relief. I took her hand, vowing never to let darkness consume me again. The ordeal had taught me a valuable lesson, that true control came not from manipulating others, but from mastering oneself. The strings of fate could be tangled and chaotic, but it was up to each of us to dance to our own rhythm, to carve our own path in a world where the only puppeteer should be the heart. As Sarah and I walked away from the asylum, I knew that our lives would never be the same. But this time, it was a change we welcomed, a future where we held the strings of our destiny, a future where we were the masters of our own fate.